Have you ever felt that your head is full? Like a hard drive, which is already at its capacity limit? Welcome to the digital age, where brain rot becomes an everyday phenomenon. This term, referring to the condition where our brain feels dull, due to habit, submerge themselves in endless streams of content. These days, we're flooded with short content, like a 15-second video, 2 memes made to trigger instant bursts of dopamine. Every swipe up giving temporary satisfaction, like endlessly snacking on chips. But what is the effect? The sense of attention decreased drastically, and we often get stuck in circles, feeling unproductive. Imagine this. You open your phone just to see one video. 2 hours later, you're still there, watching funny cat videos. Without realizing it, where does your time go? This phenomenon is not just about entertainment. This is a pattern, which, if not addressed, can make our brain more comfortable being a spectator than the main actor in our life. Here's the problem we're facing, and let's try to understand a deeper how this phenomenon works, and what we have to do about it. Have you ever felt like an algorithm boy? It's almost like you have no choice but to keep scrolling, and scrolling until you lose track of time. Quiet, a lot of us get caught up in illusions. That content has taken over our lives. But, is that really the case? Fact, content is passive. Yeah, passive. Funny videos or funny content is just there, waiting for us to consume. But who decided to watch, read, or ignore it is our own. It's like the food on the table. Do we want to eat or not to eat? The decision is in our hands. This illusion of helplessness, similar to the habit of being angry without control. When someone provokes, then we think, she makes me mad. When that anger is our own reaction, not something that's forced by others. Same thing with digital content. It's not her content that we're stuck with, but it's our decision to continue to consume them. When we realize that control is in our hands, suddenly everything feels different. We are no longer victims of algorithms. We are the main actors who decide the direction of our lives. So before complaining about how busy the brain because it's scrolling, let's reflect. Whether you are scrolling content or content that rolls, Have you ever felt the world was too strong? Algorithm is too smart. Notifications are too tempting. And you're just a victim of circumstance. Well, here's the crux of the problem. It's as true that we have no control over our lives. A lot of us, unknowingly, believe in digital determinism. Like the assumption that all our behavior is controlled by the environment. Or rather, by algorithm. We assume that I'm this way because TikTok is too addictive. Be a justification for our passive attitude. When in reality, we have more power than we think. Belief that I'm just a victim of algorithms, creating a vicious cycle. When we feel unable to change bad habits, instead we stop trying. Eventually, this belief strengthened, and the cycle of helplessness keeps repeating. We become like people stuck on a treadmill. run endlessly, but never forward. Now, let's be honest. Is we really helpless? Or we're just too comfortable to take action? Blaming the environment, it's easier than being in charge. But the keys are there. Change starts with small decisions. To take back control. So, before we complain about the brain rot or addicted to scrolling, let's ask ourselves, who's actually in control? You or the algorithm? The answer is clearer than you think. Did you know that every day, we made about 35,000 decisions? Yes, 35,000. Starting from choosing what clothes to wear, decide whether to chat now or later. So, even though life sometimes feels like walking on a predetermined rail, in reality, we have more control than we realize. These small choices actually shape our lives. For example, when a notification pops up on the screen, we can choose to open it, ignore her, or even turn off the notification at once. This choice may seem trivial, but the effects are huge. Like water dripping on a stone, this little decision can change the pattern of our lives slowly. Self-control, it's not really about trying to control all the things out there, because, to be honest, that's impossible. Self-control is about how we respond to circumstances, not the situation itself. For example, if it rains, we can't stop the rain, but we can choose to bring an umbrella, dancing in the rain, or even postpone travel. So, the secret is in here. Control doesn't mean being the boss of everything, but to be your own boss. As we understand that every action are the result of our own decisions, we begin to see that control is not an illusion. It's real, and it exists in our hands. Imagine, life is like a card game. We don't get to choose what cards are dealt, but we have full control over how to play it. Want to play aggressive, survive, or even bully? It all depends on our strategy. That's called control within limitations. The most obvious example, the election. We get to choose who we think is the best. But the end result still depends on millions of other people. Does that mean our vote doesn't matter? Not really. We still play a role, even though it's only a small part. But, more importantly, is how we respond to the results. Want to be angry, disappointed, or rise up and still contribute? It's all in our hands. In life, many things happen beyond our control. Whether it's an algorithm, social media, the global economy, or sudden bad weather. Like in a card game, focus on the steps that we can take. Instead of blaming the bad cards we get, better think, what's the best strategy I can do with this? The key is understanding that we don't have to control everything to feel like you have control. Sometimes, just by choosing how to respond, we've already won half the game of life. So, play your cards as best you can. And don't forget to enjoy the process. Okay, now we know the problem. But what's the solution? Brain rot is not the final verdict. With a few simple steps, you can go back to being the captain of your life. Let's discuss one by one. The first, adopting a mindset that is proactive. The first thing to do is change the mindset. Instead of constantly blaming the algorithm, social media, or nowadays, realize that control exists in your hands. When something feels out of control, ask, what can I do to take control? Remember, life is not about waiting for the storm to pass, but about learning to dance in the rain. The second, managing mental posture. There are two types of mental posture: passive and active. Passive posture is when you only receive whatever comes, like spending time scrolling aimlessly. While the active posture is the total opposite. You choose, act, and become the main actor in your life. Way to change it is, start by asking before doing something. Does this support my purpose in life? If the answer is no, leave it. It's that simple. The third, create routines that support self-control. Routine is a secret weapon to fight digital chaos. For example, starting in the morning, you, without staring at the screen, directly check social media, do something calming, like meditation, or read a book, or limit content consumption to a specific time. You can use a timer to remind when to stop. Focus on the things that really matter to you. Whether it's a job, family, or hobby. Prioritize what makes you feel alive. The key is in consistently small steps. You don't have to be completely anti-content. Enjoy what you love. Make sure you are in control. Slowly but surely, this proactive mindset will take you out of the loop of brain rot. So wait for when again. Start now. Finally, we come to a big conclusion. Brain rot is not about content, algorithm, or technology. It's about the way we respond to all that. The real problem is the mindset, helplessness, belief that we are victims of the digital world that move too fast. But good news, you have the power to change it all. Self-awareness is your main weapon. When you realize that every little decision, like whether to scrolling or stop, contribute to your life, then suddenly you feel more powerful. You start to see that control is real, although not absolute. Change doesn't have to be big and dramatic. It starts with small steps, such as setting the time of cell phone use. Start the day with intention, or just take a break. Before jumping into the flow of digital content, these little steps, if done consistently, can return you as the primary controller in your life. Life is like driving. You may not be able to control the way, weather, or other drivers, but you can choose how to hold your steering wheel. So hold that steering firmly. With a proactive mindset and conscious decisions, you can not only cope with brain rot, but also live a more meaningful and purposeful life. Now, it's time to stop being a spectator start playing a major role in your own life. How? You ready?